Yep, thank you. Back in public session, first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Doug, will you lead us in that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, when we do start, if people could announce who they are
Yep.
in the audience, that way Jeff can, I don't know some of the people.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session of April 20th from 5 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m.
Second.
Indefinitely.
Thank you. Seconded by Rob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Abstentions? That's 5-0. Thank you. Minutes. Scott? Make a motion to approve the,
Make a motion to approve the minutes from April 6, 23, as written.
Both,
thank you.
both public and non-public?
Public and non-public.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Les. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, abstentions, that's 5-0. Thank you. Consent agenda.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda for April 20th, 2023. Accounts payable payment manifest dated 4/13/23. Accounts payable payment manifest dated 4/20/23. Payroll payment manifest dated 4/13/23. Distribution of funds from the building maintenance fund in the amount of $141.57. Distribution of funds from the Recreation Patriotic Trust Fund in the amount of $3,000. 5-year review approvals, map block 227-070, $500 veterans credit. The next ones that I read are all $500 veterans credits. Map lot 116-049, map lot 217-122, map lot 112-076, map lot 214-007, map lot 114-051, map lot 222-005, map lot 227-023, map lot 216-103, map lot 108-042-001, map lot 224-076, map lot 115-036, map lot 104-149, map lot 104-104, map lot 104-005, timber intent 23-059-01-T for map lot 222-019 and 222-020. Timber intent 23-059-02-T for map lot 219-005. Updated veterans credit for spouse for map lot 221-015 in the amount of $500. New application for veterans credit in the amount of $500 and total and permanent disabled veteran in the amount of $1,700 for map lot 217-015, both to be applied in 2024. Updated application for veterans credit in the amount of $500 and total and permanent disabled veteran in the amount of $1,700 for map lot 218-008, both to be applied in 2023.
And,
Did I hear a sigh?
and don't forget the last four, sorry, they're on the screen.
There's 4 more up
What?
there.
Up here,
Oh.
can you see it?
Is this an eye test? Can you make it a little bigger?
Where the heck?
Is it in our packet?
No, I had to add, these were emailed, they were mentioned in your
Okay.
email, so,
The report comes.
you want more?
No, you're good.
Starting at 12.
Can you see it?
You want me to
Here.
finish?
Yeah.
Report of card certificate of yield. Report of card certificate of yield taxes and billing for map lot 219-005 in the amount of 666.63. Oh, so close. Report of cut certificate of yield taxes and billing for map lot 218-008 in the amount of $613.72. Report of cash certificate of yield taxes and billing for map lot 217140 in the amount of $3,086.55. Report of cash certificate of yield taxes and billing for map lot 217133001 in the amount of $25.96.48. Is there a second? Second by Carol. Any discussion? Anybody want to single out anything on that list? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, abstentions, that's 5-0. Thank you.
Most painful part of the year.
And we have the TTCC Facility Committee with us tonight, and we will ask the folks to tell us who you are, and so we have it on record for the minutes. So we'll start with Doug.
Doug Williams, member of the Board of Directors of the Tappan Thompson Community Center, and also a Facilities Committee member, at the Tappan Thompson Community Center.
Frank Olive, Bristol rep.
Rick Alpers, member of the Tappan Board.
Michael O'Neill, member of the board and the treasurer.
Hi, Dylan Terry, I'm member at large for the rec.
Nate Saylor, Chair of the Facilities Committee.
Peter Daniels, member at large for Bragg.
And Jeff is here.
I'm Margaret Blank with Underwood Engineers.
Right.
That's
Right.
later on your
Yep.
agenda.
Yep. All right. We have a presentation, or
Well, yes.
come on up now.
So I'm here representing the Facilities Committee of the Tappan Thompson Community Center. And we did a strategic planning seminar quite some time ago. And out of that we identified things that we need to address. And the biggest one was the facility. So the Facilities Committee got together. We viewed a bunch of properties around town. We looked at rehabbing the existing structure that we have, realizing that we're busting at the seams. We've got 12,000 square feet of building space now, and we cannot accommodate all of the people that use, children and adults that use the building. So we went on a quest to see if we could possibly put additions on the building. We hired Marinese Architectural Group to help us in designing and planning, but the reality is we need more space, and we went out looking for properties to purchase. To keep it short and sweet, the Community Center Board opted to purchase a piece of property on North Main Street known as the address of 171, with the intention of putting up an annex building. We do not have the intention of vacating our existing structure because we need the space. We need the space to the point where at this point in time we're turning away around 60 children for the summer camp program, and the same thing that happened last year. We've known that we've got to do something. So we went forth, bought this piece of property, and then in our infinite wisdom we approached the school board and the SAO office and the superintendent about the possibility of swapping the property that we purchased at 171 for the existing bus yard, which we got a very positive response from them because a number of years ago they were looking to buy that piece of property and it wasn't available because the bus yard is very cramped. So our thought is to swap the piece of property, which we did get a positive review from them, and I've spoken with the land use office and Christina about the possibility of. You don't need one of those? About the possibility of combining a portion of Kelly Park, which I'll refer to as the Preble property,
Right.
which right now houses the storage facility for the Kelly Park maintenance implements and the tractors and stuff. if we could swap the property with the school board and incorporate approximately 0.2 acres of Kelly Park, then that would afford us the ability to put up about an 18,000 square foot structure. The plus to that is it puts us directly on Kelly Park. Nobody has to cross the street to get to the building to access Kelly Park. And it just would make more sense for the way we're going to design the building. I'm going to ask the Board of Selectmen, who have authority over the Kelly Park property, to transfer to the Tapley Thompson Community Center that approximate 0.2 acres. We haven't had it surveyed, so we're not quite sure, but it's right around 0.2 acres. And Christina kind of verified that.
I think so, yeah. We can measure it out too on this map, but I
Yeah.
believe that's what we verified, yeah.
Of course, the town of Bristol and Kelly Park is using a storage facility on that building. So the caveat for the town of Bristol and the Kelly Park Commission is that in our design of the building, we would have a 2-bay garage on the bottom floor, which would give the town of Bristol, Kelly Park Commission, and whoever's doing the caretaking direct access to Kelly Park and have an exclusive 2-bay storage area in the building for their access. Which would make a lot of sense because right now, whenever they have to do anything to Kelly Park with the tractors or the implementations that they use, they have to drive down North Main Street the wrong direction and access the park by the tennis courts or drive all the way around through the schoolyard. I would think it would be a much safer and more convenient, for the apparatus that they use on the park if they could have direct access. That, in a nutshell, is why we're here.
Disposing of town property, or is it a boundary line? Well, I guess there's a couple of ways you could do it, right?
I mean, if you acquire the park, if you trade off the bus parking lot, then it would be just that.
Just about
boundary line
adjustment.
You could do that, and I can check and just make sure of the process, but
Yeah. So that would be after
within
you
it.
swap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with an MOU
Yep.
for the park, and then, yeah. The only other thing you'd have to talk about would be where you put the community garden group,
Yeah,
but,
we'll figure that out.
yeah, and they're building a shed now, but I think it can be moved
Yep.
easily, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there is the possibility that we could incorporate, a space for a community garden on the property.
That would be great. You would have to have, if you're gonna do the bottom floor storage, because I know the way that lot sits, you'd have to have access through the school parking lot.
We wouldn't have to have access to the school parking lot because my thought is that 2-bay would face directly onto the Kelly Park field, not out towards the parking area.
Oh, okay. Yep.
That's my thought.
Yep. That makes sense.
Where if Mark had the park equipment somewhere to access it though, would that be a problem? Would they be able to put a vehicle?
I don't see why they couldn't. I mean,
To the garage.
there'd be enough, I would assume there'd be enough space to have at least 2 bays and probably a small workshop beside the 2 bays.
But I mean, just so that they can drive the vehicle, sometimes they have to unload stuff, load stuff back up. Can they get a vehicle to those?
Then you'd have to come through the school.
It gets used that way now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every time Scott brings his mower to do the field or we're doing that now. But it would be good, and you could do it but it would be good to have a legal right away there with the town when they did the swap.
Or would you just make access along the fence line between the parking lot,
Potentially,
where the bus depot offices along that
Yeah.
line there?
yeah. I mean, we're getting a little bit into the weeds, but I would want.
Well, either way, you gotta go through the parking lot.
Yeah.
Unless you make a road around the,
Because the idea would be the property would, the swap with the bus yard incorporates their entrance also, because their intention is to move the entrance further away,
Right.
you know, on North Main Street.
Right.
Which gives them a better access when they make that turn in front of the school. They want to be able to make a longer sweep.
So, that's, one comment, that's a good thing. This week I had a person say to me, you aren't actually gonna put a building there with a driveway where those red stakes are for kids to cross the road, are you? Where cars come down that hill at the Ford's house. So if you did this, it would eliminate that concern.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, am I recalling incorrectly, 25, 30 years ago, that there have been complaints about fumes from the buses where they sit now, and then that would be worse where they would be placed? And is that an issue for us to worry about, or if there's swapping properties, is that out of the realm of
technology of new.
No, I mean, is that not something that we would be concerned about? I'm sure I remember this, well, I lived there, where the guns are. And I'm sure there was a complaint years ago about fumes from the buses running in the morning. If you move it closer to residences, is that gonna be a problem? I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there so you think about it. As far as accessibility for kids, I think it's a great idea. See if the school will give us the basketball court, we can put an ice rink on.
That was the Kelly Park Committee's wish, was that we get that as part of the.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we did meet with the Kelly Park Commission also, and they were very much interested in seeing if we can incorporate more property back from the school, but I think that's more of a negotiation with the Kelly Park Commission and the school than what we're looking to do.
Right, right.
And one more thing.
Yep.
Does the town need to have the TTTC give us space in that building, or can we do something else? So you're trying to raise money for this building. Is there another way we can, I know it would cost us money to take care of this shed without having to take space from it?
We're gonna have to put I wasn't gonna say anything, but we're gonna have to put a mechanical room down in the basement anyway, so there'll be space with the size of the building. And it makes sense to have that to make.
Just trying to.
I think, yeah. Rob, did you have?
Are you looking at it from a perception standpoint that the town's taking donations?
No, I think you're just thinking of,
Giving them everything that they're looking for in the building they want. without
right,
giving
or
us
does it
space.
muddy the water to have the
Yeah.
town basically own 2 bays of that? You know, they don't own it, but.
Well, not so much that, it's just
Yeah.
saying that we're taking space out of something that
Yeah.
the center would like to have.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, again, I think the facility that we have in mind, there's not gonna be a full basement under the whole building, because most of it's gonna be meeting room and basketball court.
Right.
But on the Kelly Park side, that would probably be fully excavated for whatever the width of the building is gonna be. Probably, I'm gonna say 40 to 60 feet wide by probably 40 feet deep. So, and the only thing that we're thinking of putting in the basement is one, our mechanicals.
Yeah.
Two, a public access bathroom facility that is direct access off of the Kelly Park field. You know, changing rooms, you know, locker rooms, sort of, you know, when the kids are doing, you know, baseball, basketball, they can go inside, someplace to change, you know, out of their street clothes into their plain clothes. And then have the bathroom facility accessible whenever the building is open, so people who are on the park can use the facilities. Given that amount of room, that still probably leaves a, you know, 30 or 25 or 30 foot by 40 feet of space that we don't have the need for, other than we need the floor space above it.
And I think it's a good stopgap measure, and we,
For the
you know,
future, we
10
can-
years from now, we may end up building something different.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple more questions, if that's okay. So forgive my ignorance. The SAU owns the bus lot.
Yep, they own the bus lot.
Okay. And they lease it to First Student?
They,
Just part of the contract.
it's part of the contract.
It's part-
that
okay,
They,
yeah.
they have, you know, have a space for them to park the buses.
Okay. All right. That's really all I was kind of curious about.
And they were
they're on
very
board with it.
enthusiastic about the idea of gaining a little more space
Yeah,
and gaining a better access,
yeah.
you know, to the
Who
school.
would incur the cost of prepping that other lot to take on the bus yard?
They would.
They would.
They would take over. Our agreement was that we would purchase the property and that we would take down the building. And then we would swap the bus yard for the property
Gotcha.
as it sits now.
And then Christina, that will have to go through a process for abutters notifications, and that may be where you'll get some questions about buses running in the morning. Okay, it's good, it's much better for the
We'll
road.
confirm
much
all
better.
that process.
Yeah.
So, what do we need tonight? Do we need just a motion to support?
I don't even think you need a motion
Okay.
at this point. I would think that it would.
I
just be
can't see
consensus.
this board saying no to any of that.
And you know what? That's exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And
I just want to take a minute and say thank you to the committee and the community who have stepped up and opened their wallets, opened their hearts in this project. And it's been heartwarming to hear the stories of people who have gone through the program contributing to this, people who are new to the area contributing to this, and the energy that you Doug and the committee have shown in getting something like this up. It's long needed, and I really appreciate the work being done. It's fantastic.
the other thing, Sean, is when we started all of this process, we put forth a capital campaign. And this was back in December we started it, thinking, you know, the local community would be supporting us in some fashion. And I'm happy to say that, you know, local support has now topped $200,000.
It's just incredible.
You know, which completely overwhelmed us. But it did afford us to, you know, buy the property, afforded us to hire Marinate architectural firm to guide us in this process. So it's, you know, the support locally is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, awesome.
Oh, Barbara.
Tell her to call Doug.
Yours will ring next.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Barbara.
Well, my phone's on, you know, silent, so she
Yeah.
probably tried to call me for
We should just say, who in this room
It's-
doesn't get a call from Barbara at least once
I
a
was
week?
gonna say answer it, we could all just say hello, Barbara.
Oh, she was just calling now?
Yes.
Should have answered it.
Yeah, this is her time.
So, what I'm hoping for tonight is a positive response from the Board of Selectmen in our quest to do this. And if I do get that, we're going to immediately get in touch with a
Survey?
surveyor and actually survey all of that property that we're talking about, the bus yard and that 0.2 acres of the Kelly Park, so that we know exactly what we're working with.
I think Sean pretty much speaks for all of us and kind of mirrored his sentiments towards the whole project, so.
I don't think you need to vote tonight, I think, because you're gonna have to vote on
Boundary line
the
adjustment.
boundary line
Yeah,
adjustment,
boundary
an
line.
MOU, whatever it may be. You'll have to do all of that transferring things,
Yeah.
so
Yep,
I just think it's general
Well-
consensus to move forward.
yep. Awesome. I couldn't be happier for this project, to see this project move forward. When I heard you bought the property, I thought it was a great idea. When I heard you were thinking about switching it to swapping it for the bus, I thought that was even a better idea. So, like, again, I just reiterate, I thank you guys for all the work that you've done and for the community to step up. It's been great.
Thank you. Thank you for all your support.
Yeah.
I just have one request at all. You gotta put power in the softball dugout.
Yeah.
What's that?
Power in the softball.
So we have to run that stupid extension cord.
Yeah, the building's gonna be right there, so.
Yeah, just put it outside.
Just think you can leave a tractor down there now.
I might have to donate it.
As we move forward with this, obviously, we're gonna be looking for input from everybody. You know, the people who are gonna use the facility, the people who are gonna be, you know, adjacent to the facility, people who have an idea like, hey, we need electricity, you know, so that we can incorporate everything we can possibly think of in this process.
And I know it's an open-ended question, but what's your time frame on everything?
I'd like to break ground tomorrow if I can. Because we are literally busting at the seams. But we're looking at a project that's gonna be somewhere around $5.5 million. We're actively pursuing grant funding as we speak. In fact, one of the funding requests is going out tomorrow. So I'm thinking that it's not really gonna happen for a year and a half or 2 years, but as soon as we possibly can make it happen.
Yeah, great.
You can't sign that, Rob. Just you three.
Just us three on those.
Just to quickly clarify, those kids that were on the waiting list, we have made the decision to open another camp up for the summer, so we're gonna be able to take the kids
That's awesome.
that are on the waiting list.
Oh, cool.
That's incredible.
They gave us permission to use Bristol Elementary School gym, so we have,
Yeah, which really helped.
so kudos to the school district.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. All right.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Glad you're out of here so you can continue on your business.
Good to see you guys.
Wait a minute, it is all guys.
Yeah.
Whatever.
See ya.
Yeah.
He just calls me boss.
Wendy's not on that committee?
She's not on, she's not on facility, she's on finance. We haven't assigned you a committee yet.
I will say that if you don't put your kid into summer camp, the minute that it opens up, you are not getting into summer camp. I did it 1 year, didn't do it the minute, and I begged in to get a kid in.
Yeah, I was down to Toronto.
It's like concert tickets. It's ridiculous.
And I had a driver's ed.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to give up a couple of hours of donation time in order to move it around.
But pre-COVID, I could easily tell people, if you register within the first 2 weeks, you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But once we opened through COVID and then once we, now,
Yeah.
it's
We,
just
there,
so
were,
insane.
there were people coming from a ways out of state to put their kids in summer camp that were
But
here for the summer. too.
I asked that question, there's less of that, or there's a few, but not many.
Yeah.
Of what, out of state?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're people that own property at the lake.
Right. So where's the growth coming from? Have you figured that out? There's some more kids in the van?
Well, that is a big piece, is the no childcare
Yeah.
piece.
A lot of after-school programs have ended at schools, so it's your own option.
And next year, the 21C grant goes away, that's the last year of the grant for the schools, so there's gonna be a bigger need.
We could get away with no childcare, but I don't want my kid home all summer. I don't think she wants to be home all summer.
What's it worth to you?
Right?
Okay, we're back to water and sewer.
So, we would like to switch the
Oh.
two, so if we could do asset, it's still water sewer.
Asset management grant
Yeah.
Underwood Engineering.
Because that's what Margaret's here for.
Great.
So,
Great.
You want me to sit up there, or is this fine here?
You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
Did you have something?
I have all the documents, so if you want me to share, I can. I can start by saying you saw this 2 weeks ago, originally. These are just the blank documents, but you saw this a couple of weeks ago. The ones who were here a couple of weeks ago, where is the, we had to pull it off the agenda at the time, because DES asked us not to hold off on it. But we've now gotten the green light to go ahead. So we've been awarded a grant for asset management program, $100,000 for the water and sewer department, and Do you want to explain a little bit more about that, Jeff?
Yeah, I can start.
Do we have
Roll
that?
with me.
All of those documents are in your packet under number 6, WS. So the whole line of them.
Thank you.
So this asset management program or plan that we have was actually developed by Underwood back in 2017. And took a look at our entire water system, miles of pipe, the life expectancy on a lot of the pipes, equipment, and kind of forecast what we need to do to plan for the future, budget for the future. And a way to, as we collect that data, what I'd like to do is implement it into our mapping software. So it gives us a central location where all this information will be. I find it's easy to do that. You click on a property and bring up all the information about that well, pump curves, operational procedures, stuff like that. So
I will tell you that stuff isn't open to the public. It's a staff log that is separate for Jeff.
Yeah.
You can pick and choose what's open to public, and I'll show you that under the TA reports later. But
so Underwood had drafted up a scope for us, what they would do.
that's also in your packets, the draft scope. Where did I put it?
Yeah. Bristol AMP
Yes.
draft scope.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like the
it.
4th one or the 5th one, too.
There we go.
That's it.
This is something we've been talking about for years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's an ongoing program, really. It's never ending. So I'd like to do something like this on the sewer end. And as I learn with this, I'm trying to create one for the sewer as well. So.
You can do a sewer one too. I can go through the scope, or I can just take questions, whatever your preference is.
Maybe just a quick overview
Quick
of the
overview?
scope. Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
I think I've got 6 tasks in here, but we already did the water system inventory for the first asset management program. So to expand on that and improve upon it, I propose doing some field data collection to make sure that the water mains are geographically correct, so that when Jeff and the guys are out there, they know what side of the road it's on. And I think originally it came from a hydraulic model that was done, so it's somewhat schematic. So that's probably about half the dollar amount of that first task. The rest of it is I want to start putting together your customer and meter and service line inventory, because coming up is the lead service line inventory requirement, October 2024. We, Underwood, are working with the state on that, and Bristol is one of the communities that was assigned to us, so this will kind of dovetail nicely into that. Task 2 is the level of service workshop, which is where Underwood and the town and DES meets to talk about what the town's goals might be for the water system. And task 3 is the financial review and rate model update. I don't know that we've ever done a rate study for you.
I think there may have been one years ago.
Christina, page
Okay.
3.
Thank you. I lost.
Page 3.
They're usually done every 5 years or so. But that helps you gauge, if you're gonna do a project, what impact will that have on rates? What impact will that have on the ratepayers? Task 4 is the implementation plan. And that is really mostly training Jeff and the staff how to use the system and figuring out how to make the system work. I know that currently you're using CAI, so we would talk with them and figure out the best way to integrate all the new information. Task 5 is the communication plan, so that's the report that DES requires. There are also some public outreach activities included. So we usually propose doing a story map, which is kind of a glorified PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And since you're using CAI, we may do something different because, you know, they already have the capability to publish maps and make them available to the public. But, you know, maybe some content for the website, maybe a mailer for a billing, just explaining a little bit about the asset management program and a little bit about the water system.
Yeah.
I think what most people don't realize is how much these assets are worth and what they would cost to replace. I mean, it's tens of millions. Yeah. So that's task 5, and then task 6 was to do a hydraulic model update. It sounds like there's been some growth in town based on the last discussion, and I think the hydraulic model was last done in 2008. So, time for an update. We included that in here as well. And I also, this isn't in our scope, but I did include some equipment. I included, I think, about $23,000 for equipment. And, aha, there it is. Equipment and software. 21,000. Yeah. Our scope is 79,000. And then for equipment and software, an ArcGIS Pro license, which is Esri. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's kind of like.
Unfortunately, yes.
We don't have a couple of those already?
Doesn't
No,
matter,
they
you gotta,
chose not to
yeah.
at the time.
Right, good.
All right, I would like to hear more about that.
I'm a forester, so.
Maybe later.
It's not the most user-friendly program, but.
Yeah.
Although I think they're moving to a platform that's supposed to be more user-friendly from what I hear, but we'll see.
They are moving from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro, and I do
Right.
think ArcGIS Pro it's more like menu driven, I think,
Right.
so I think it's a
Yeah.
little more intuitive. I'm using ArcMap so long, it was a hard transition for me, but I think people new to it, it's probably easier. I put in some money for a GIS workstation because sometimes you will start to load the software on a client's workstation and it's like, no. So I just put some money in there for that just in case. It's getting more powerful, but then that means it needs more speed, more memory, so more resources. Tablets for the guys to use in the field, I budgeted for 2. That'll be enough?
That should be enough.
All right. We also talked about a GPS unit so that staff can take points if they need to. So the unit I'm proposing increases the accuracy of the location on your tablet or your phone. So it's lower cost and it's easier to use. I gave Jeff a whole memo all about it to help with the shopping. But I think that'll be pretty handy. finding, you're always gonna have new shut-off valves, you're always gonna have new facilities, so this just helps you map them accurately so you can find them later. And we also talked about a utility locator. I had another client that bought this device that helps him map out his pipelines.
Yep.
So I put Jeff in touch with him and, thought that might be a good thing to have as well while you have this grant money available.
Great.
And that's all I've got.
So this is awarded, on its way, we've received it, but
No, all the paperwork that we have to do,
submit, sorry, go.
the paperwork that was shown earlier, we just have to fill that out.
We would need a vote tonight, and I just circled the things I think you have to vote on, which is the grant, you would have to vote to approve the grant agreement and authorize me to sign it. And then also approve who the consultant is. And then the rest of the paperwork we can just take care of and get that submitted.
okay.
And then it should be coming to us, so.
Right, it'll be reviewed by staff and then it'll go before governor and council for approval. And once that's approved, then it's done.
But we've been told we're getting it, just goes through that process, so.
Right.
Okay. Carol?
Yep. I'll make a motion that we approve the grant agreement for the water department to receive grant funds from New Hampshire DES and to allow the town administrator to sign.
Is there a second? Do you want all into one or two?
Oh, you can do it too if you want.
I heard you say
I
two.
heard two.
Okay,
So,
no, good.
okay.
We're good.
So the second by Rob, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions, that is 5-0.
And the second motion, I didn't scribble down fast enough what you said to be able to say it.
Is to name Underwood Engineering.
As the consultant.
So make a motion that we name Underwood Engineering as the consultant for the project that will be funded under this grant agreement.
The asset management
Second that too.
planning.
The asset management plan, you should have just done that for me.
Motion by Carol and
Apparently.
seconded by Rob. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions, that is 5-0. Great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch.
Thank you for coming, drive safe.
Thank you, patience.
Jeff, what do you want to start?
What else you got, Jeff?
Yeah, what else did I have?
So,
Like you want a roof?
let's see, you've got,
Is it faster?
there's two roofing quotes under 05.
It just sounds.
It's noisy after
Yes.
when people were talking, that's for sure.
05 WS1, you have two roofing quotes, we can start with those, and I can
Okay.
share them on the screen
Yep.
too, but that's the first thing I think I'll have, and then we'll continue from there.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
I know.
Roofing project proposal.
So 05 WS1,
What do we need a roof on?
The wastewater lab, office space,
Yeah.
figured it is leaking, between the old and the new section. I think Master Roofers is the one that was, the better quote. They're also the ones that replaced the roof at the Fowler well for us 2 years ago. And
Yep.
they did a good job. Happy with the work, happy with their proposal. Anxious to get this going because this is what I ran into a few years back at the Central Street Station. It's not very good.
Yeah,
Water
no.
coming in on their equipment.
Yeah. Okay. So-
I was only able to get 2 quotes, but, like I said, this is a good company that we worked with in the past.
So how are we paying for it?
This was budgeted. I think it does come in a little bit shy of what I had budgeted in that line. But I have also budgeted paving of the wastewater treatment plant. I think this is more important.
Yep.
So if I have to postpone paving, I will do that to cover this cost.
Okay.
So this comes in a little higher than what you budgeted, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
How's their lead time to get this done for you?
I didn't check into that.
All right, we need a,
Yep.
Yep. So they broke it down, I don't see a total to give you, but
I think it's,
is it in there, Jeff? Well,
yeah, those are.
yeah.
Jeff, what do you
Yeah, I
propose?
think it's, is there one further down?
Yep, general, well, there's general terms and conditions.
Yeah, you can zoom.
Yeah, no,
Well, it's not the repair, but I think it's the lower roof.
these two.
Yeah, those two combined, yeah.
20,000, 20.
We're gonna test you.
20,200.
Yeah.
21, no, sorry.
20,200.
Yeah.
We pulled two past.
I was awful mad too, so.
Wait a minute, 20,
The bottom two,
The
not
bottom
the
two.
repairs. It's the,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure as quoted from
master roofers.
Master Roofers for a total of 20,200 to make repair, or to replace the roof on the lower roof and the middle roof of the wastewater project.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Carol. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Abstentions? That is 5-0. Right. Okay.
Detail.
No, it's good. Oh, it's gonna take me a minute to get to the next one. Well, actually, this one would probably be easier. I'm just gonna share the one document unless you want me to share more, but I thought it would be nice. Jeff recently had, a New Hampshire DES inspection. No, I think it was in March, but we're just catching up. So, I thought it was really nice to share with the board and with the public. This is DES's email to Jeff. They sent the checklist, which is in your packets. And they said, keep up the great work you and your staff are doing. Not everyone can do the job of protecting human health and the environment, and a great deal of recognition should be placed on this. So they included a letter about the site visit and the checklist in your packets. But I
Great work.
really thought we should mention that tonight, so.
Yeah. Wonderful work.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks to
you.
my guys too.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Big thanks.
This is the next one, right, Jeff? Okay.
Yeah.
So, next one is updates. Stop share, this is not doing it right. The next one is updates, to the SCADA.
The what?
SCADA, I'll let Jeff take over from here.
Skater boy?
I was thinking, well, I will have this kind of weird skin thing.
Supervisory controls, data acquisition.
Supervisory controls and data acquisition, gotta write that down.
Remote control, basically, right?
What this allows us to do is see what's going on out in the system from my computer. And we're tying in a lot of the stuff that now is on copper phone lines.
Yep.
But those copper phone lines are closed loop circuits, it's something they're trying to do away with.
Yeah.
$28 a month for these lines, and now it's jumped up to $104, so. It's just.
And we've already talked to you that we're gonna start shifting this building's fire
Yes.
alarm system and we'll have the old town hall system off of those copper lines and into these wireless communicators as well.
Yep.
But
So this will put, our alarm dialers will then be cellular, our communication from the tank site, to the well, when to kick on, when to fill the tank, will all be through this system, this proposal from EII. They're out of, I think it's Marlboro. They did a lot of the work at the treatment plant. They were doing work at our booster station and our Hallville pump station.
Which document is this?
It's EII.
05WS3.
Oh, Fowler and Tank Cellular.
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking for SCADA. Okay, thank you.
I think there's money in both departments, water and wastewater, to go towards this, because it's also, it'll be tying in the new Central Street pump station.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't budget enough.
That's why.
Take it out, babe.
That's why your budget was so good.
I plan on paving now I'm taking some of Mark's paving. I'll find the money somehow. These are pretty important projects to us, so we'll find a way to get them done.
Great,
That's good.
okay. Lump sum price 39,750.
Make a motion?
Yep.
Make a motion, we move ahead with the updates to the SCADA system, in the amount of $39,750.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous.
We did not, again, I just will point out, because in case anybody sees it on the agenda, the job descriptions are not available for tonight.
Yep.
But, so we'll continue that to another meeting. However, if I could, there's an item that I didn't make it to your TA report because I met with the auditors today, which might affect Jeff. So, I'd like to bring that up if that's okay with you.
Yep, go ahead.
So you'll remember
Yes.
that we had those warrant article that we were told we couldn't put on the warrant article by DRA.
Yep.
So I've talked to the auditors today, let me just make sure. I talked to the auditors before, what they told me before is inaccurate. So they've given, and I will tell you that 30 minutes after I talked to them today, it was inaccurate again. But we've gotten a final answer we've gotten 3 different answers from the auditors. Now, I feel much better about the new resolutions, but I've got to talk to you, and thought Jeff should be aware, about how we resolve this. It's been in the audit report for, I don't know how many years, 10 years, that we have this outstanding debt, so to speak, projects that weren't booked appropriately potentially, or reimbursements weren't booked appropriately. So it shows that these accounts are in the negative. And the only way to clear them is to take some money from somewhere to clear them. It's a total of the $22,000 was already paid. You'd already made that decision to take care of that. But the $309,000 we had talked about before me, we had talked before me to put it on a warrant article and pay it back over a 5-year period. Again, DRA took that warrant article out and said, no, we can't do it that way. You can't book money on a warrant for capital projects that don't exist right now. You can't pay back a deficit. So in the thoughts, we could do, when we talked to the auditors the first time, they said we could just do an adjustment. So it's changed. We have 3 options. So the first option is to pay the whole $309,000 out of, can do it as an adjustment. They call it what's called as a prior approved adjustment. And you do the whole $309,000 out of the general fund. And unassigned, it comes out of there as it should have been booked previously. That's a huge hit on the general fund, and Bob and I are both saying, please don't do that.
Yeah.
The second option is what the auditors feel is that some of these projects benefited the water and sewer department. And so they feel that you can do 150, we could do a portion of, we couldn't hit the whole water and sewer for 300,000. He's got other projects going on. But if we split it and did 150, it's roughly 150, 159 each, then you could take a prior adjustment from water and sewer, which would be 75 from water, 75 from sewer, their reserve, and we would do 150 out of the general fund, which is an easier hit because we put approximately, from 2022, we put approximately 150 back in, so it would end up washing when they do the adjustment. The third option is to put, if we wanted to pay it back in increments, which would be about $69,000 approximately, then we would have to put it in our debt service and tax. Bob and I both say please don't do that either, because we're not, that's another $69,000 that your budget's going up for 5 years. So our suggestion, and I haven't talked to Jeff because this all happened this afternoon, but our suggestion was to split it 150 and 150, and that will get this clear once and for all. We don't have to necessarily vote on it tonight, but I just have to put it out there.
Okay.
I need a vote at the next meeting, whatever we decide to do.
Okay.
If you're ready to vote, you can, but we still probably have to do some type of form for the auditors. Does it, view comments, Jeff?
He didn't budget for that either.
I was gonna do some paving.
I was gonna do
There goes his paving.
Jesus, what a fail here.
Yeah, this has gone back and forth for over the years, and I thought we finally had timed it out, but what it is, it's projects that were voted at town meeting, and the funds were to come from, taxation. And that's why we've said right along, that it is the responsibility of the taxpayers, because it's a warrant article. One was chlor, dechlor, I can't remember what the other one was. But ultimately, I guess it's up to you guys.
So this would all come out this year?
Yeah, it would just be a prior, the wording is a prior budgeted expense or approved adjustment, and it would yield the come out, the auditors would just do an adjustment, prior period adjustment. And it would come out of either one if you did both or out of one.
Where do we find $150,000?
So we did put approximately 150 from 2022, so it kind of would be, when we talked about this before, we thought it was only gonna be 75.
Yeah.
And we thought, great, we could take that out of the budget. We don't have enough to fix this all. When I also talked to the auditors, they said we could do it over 5 years, and then they came back and said, you can't pay back a prior period
Right.
adjustment over 5 years. So, because he sent me a last email.
Isn't that what you just said option 3 was?
Taxing.
Paying it back
It'd be
over 5 years?
taxing,
So, and you don't wanna do that, why?
because you're putting $69,000 in your debt service for the next 5 years, which increases your budget.
I got that, but
I'm a little.
as opposed to taking a big chunk out now, we have to find it somewhere. Where are we finding this as joint?
Well, you also have another option, you just leave it and make a decision on another year, but it's gonna be in your audit report again. It's been there off for 10 years.
No, it's gotta be taken care of.
I will tell you my concern with adding it to the budget. There's been some substantial changes. We're gonna get hit potentially with utility. The state school rate is going to go back up. 67, they gave us
Yeah,
for
we'll
1
go
year.
back, 100 million going back on.
Right, so I'm a little concerned about that as we get closer to budget season, but,
So where is it coming from?
unassigned fund
That's up
balance.
to you
I
guys.
thought we talked,
So, but we'd be allowed to remove that.
Yes, because it would be an adjustment by the auditors.
So it
You would,
wouldn't come out of this year's budget.
no,
It would-
it wouldn't come out of this year's budget.
But we wouldn't be,
I'm just looking at.
we wouldn't have that $150,000 at tax time.
Correct.
When does a decision have to be made on this?
I think by the next meeting, they have not, well, not necessarily next meeting, they will, 90 days, they'll be giving us the audit letter, so we need to do it before then. He did send me, let's see what his last email said. The projected fund balances, so the non-spendable fund balance is about $37,000. Represents non-liquid assets, prepaid expenses, and tax-deeded property. Signed fund balance, which is encumbrances and abatement contingency, is 345, well, roughly 346,000. The available surplus, the unassigned fund balance is 825,000 right now. So we were about, we didn't put back quite 150 then, because we were 733,000 at the end of the year, so.
Okay.
But this is what they gave us for numbers.
we're taking some out. We are taking some out from the public safety building.
We're taking 107,000 was being taken out for radiant flooring. We're applying for the $50,000 grant from Grafton County. If we get that, then we'll only take 57,000 out.
So that 800 number reflects that 107 coming out?
No.
No,
Okay.
100, so it's 107 plus 25,000 for contingency.
Right, yeah.
I think the only other article failed that was gonna take money out of.
Yeah.
So that will still come out of the 800.
Change. Okay.
So you can, I can get more information about it, but if you want to think on it,
Put it on next meeting's agenda.
I just wanted Jeff to hear.
Have a good night, Jeff.
Should we have Bob come in, because he could
What?
explain, Bob explained it pretty good last time, they should work that, and our finance guy come in.
Well, Bob's recommending 150 from you and 150 from the town. So he, yeah, so
All right.
he, oh, never mind. So we can ask Bob to come back in again if you want, but
I'll talk to Bob, and just see.
Okay.
So we're just transferring money between accounts.
Well,
if you.
no, it's real dollars because it affects
Yeah,
what we have to offset taxes
right.
in the fall.
I mean, we obviously, we cannot do the full 300,000 now. If,
Right.
if we were just doing it from the town. Could we potentially do 150? Bob felt much more comfortable with that. Bob did not feel comfortable with the 69,000 being added to the budget, and he did not feel comfortable with the 300,000 coming out. But these were our options right now, or we leave it on the audit for now.
Could you do 150
Well, that's what I was just
this
gonna-
year and 150
But
next?
that wouldn't satisfy the auditors.
So I asked, so the audit, Tyler is the auditor, and I asked him, he said he'd have to fly it up the flagpole. I'm like, can you fly it up the flagpole? Because I'm sure I'm gonna get that question.
Yeah.
So,
And there you go.
so I will hopefully have that answer before May 4th for you, so.
Because you can't, you essentially can't hold the next board hostage by, they would have to vote on it again.
And your next finance officer trying to explain that.
Yeah, exactly,
Right.
yeah.
Sorry, Jeff, I tried to throw you a lifeline.
And my understanding is that that's the last big thing in the audit that's been hanging over.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Should be nice to
Yep.
put down there.
Okay, let's sleep on that.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
All done?
You're all done.
Yeah, we're done.
Done kicking you. We give you a little bit, we take a little bit.
See you guys.
See ya.
Come on up, chief.
So Chief Pat, I don't have the quotes to share. The chief will, because they came in late this afternoon. but I'll let him explain.
So I got a purchase for the cruisers. I do have the quotes, not one for everybody, but I do have the quotes if people want to see them. We reached out to 4 Ford dealerships, 2 in New Hampshire, 2 in Mass. Well, actually, we reached out to more, but the other ones didn't even give us a price. They just said that they can't get us a cruiser. So Irwin's said they can't get us a cruiser, but supplied us a quote of $43,115. Croponi could order us one. They had ordered numerous ones. They just had no idea what will be in. They're at $44,222. Colonial and Mass was able to have, they had one on the lot. They were $43,500, but we want to go with McGovern Municipal Headquarters. They are the lowest quote out of all 4 of them. They have one on the lot that they have for us. They're $42,615. We purchased the last 2 cruisers from them because they've got the state bid in Massachusetts, so they order hundreds of them right off the bat, so they nonstop have them on the lot. So they were the cheapest.
Did you did you transpose one of the other numbers?
So the numbers are different. This number is actually going to probably be less too.
Okay.
This price right here, when I wrote it, that $43,960, that's for a black and white cruiser. That's with the painted doors. It was a little over $1,000 for painted doors. We don't have enough money to fully outfit a fully marked cruiser for patrol, so this is going to be my car, all black, saving $1,000 from painting the doors, but then less equipment inside. We called around. We were quoted $20,000, approximately $20,000 for fully marked cruiser through OME, but we called around to even more companies, and the lowest we got it down to was like $17,500 for fully marked, where a cruiser for myself was down to, it was like $13,000. So that's where we've got enough money.
What is included in that $13,000?
I
Is
don't.
that all labor?
No, it was only like $2,000.
It's gotta be a lot of labor.
It was like, I actually had probably
And
my
the
phone.
clothes, I haven't been
I don't know if I included the
Is that what you need though?
outfit. We've got enough money for a administrative car. We're about $8,000 short for a fully marked car. So one of the problems this year is we've essentially robbed all of our cruisers from every part. So we have to essentially build a brand new car.
Yeah.
The other thing is we're getting rid of the Fusion. So it's got nothing. But Ford keeps changing their models, so the cages all have to be bought new. Like every 3 years they've been changing the model, so you have to essentially outfit the whole thing. So the only thing in the Fusion is a couple of blue lights and the radio, which we are reusing the radio. Now that being said, that radio is what's called an Astro radio, which there's 0 parts for. So if it does blow up,
It's useless.
It's useless. But we're gonna have to. So we got prices on trading in this car or selling it. McGovern's given us $2,500 trade-in. They're the lowest. However, we went to Auto Trends. They were willing to give us $3,000, and a company online was willing to give us $4,000. Benson's ad on the radio that they want to buy your used cars inaccurate. They came and looked at it and then never even gave us a price.
Not your used.
But Auto Trends told us that that because it's a town vehicle, you take $1,500 off it just being owned by the town. And they said that at auction last week, same exact vehicle, less mileage, went for $3,500. So they didn't think it was worth anything. Now that being said, we were talking around about keeping it because at that price, Christina wanted it. So we're like, well, $3,000, we don't have enough money anyways. Then New Hampton Auto, when we asked him how much work needs to be put into this car, told us that we were told back in the fall time that the head gasket was blown on it. We did a temporary fix where he put some foam stuff in that he told us at that point to get rid of. Yeah.
Get rid of it.
He told us at that point to get rid of it. We brought to Irwin's, which we've called Irwin's this week, and they confirmed that the head gasket's blown and they will not replace the head gasket. It needs a new motor. So we don't want to sell Tahoe Trents now. So we feel that trading it in for $2,500 is better than $0 later on.
And we don't want the headache of it,
No.
town car to be that, so.
It wasn't really ideal for what
Right.
they were gonna want anyways, but it was a vehicle. So we are recommending the governed,
I don't know.
that price, I had written that up before we got the final price, because we needed to have, she wanted it a couple days ago. So the actual price for a black Cruiser is gonna be, as long as I did my math correctly, $40,365 with the trade-in.
Oh, their quote says, okay, it's F35.
Yeah,
That's your quote, right?
yeah. So here's the newest quote that we got yesterday, I believe it was, with the trade-in. That's the $40,365.
So question for you, Chief?
Yes.
Do you need a full cruiser? Weren't you gonna replace a full, you were going to get a full cruiser, not a?
Yeah. So my take on it is, like, I think that I should have the oldest car, so the newest cars going to patrol.
Yep.
One bonus right now is we just barely got our cruiser from last year, last week or the week before. So we've got a cruiser in patrol with 0 miles essentially on it. The next cruiser is car 2 that's around like 40,000, because again, that car came late in the year. Then it's a huge jump to it's like 90,000 miles on the next car. But I think I was talking with Eli, who's actually in charge of our cruiser stuff, and got all these quotes, and we think that patrol-wise, we're good. This car essentially will probably last me the rest of my career, or it'll rust out if it stays my car. Later on, we do have potential that could add a couple of things to it, and it could go into patrol if we needed to. It starts to cost you more money at that point. But,
Do you have that number?
I just wrote it down, so you wanted to.
Yep, just want to make sure you have it. Yep.
just so you have it too, we did reach out to 3 Dodge dealerships too. A Dodge Durango was cheaper. However, all 3 of them said, no way, you're getting a vehicle this year. McMulkins and McGovern is a Chevy dealer too, so they gave us a quote on Tahoe. The Tahoe price is $42,652, so it's a couple dollars more, but it's not. I don't want to switch to. It's easier if we keep everything a Ford. Maybe
Is there any difference in the upfit cost between the Tahoe and the Ford?
So we didn't. We asked OME for the price for a Tahoe, and he's like impossible to get things from. So we never got it. He told us it's going to be more money. So going on that, going on the look around town and driving around the Tahoe, I don't really care for. The Ford has always been, for police vehicles, has always been reliable. Dodge has gotten in the game, gotten out of the game, gotten in the game. Same thing with Chevy. So I've always been a believer. Personally, I'm not a Ford person, but I've always been a believer that Ford's always stayed in it. The other thing is when it comes to tires, it's easier with the winter tires that we buy X amount of them, all the same ones.
One more question, do we care if we have an all-black vehicle? We have had.
Yeah, we have done.
Right?
Right?
Nobody cares if we have an unmarked car, quote unquote, it's not really.
Not
As
now,
long as it's
Ralph's
black,
car.
Carol, as long as it's not red or white.
Or blue.
Blue. I'll be honest with you personally. A black and white Cruiser, I don't disagree. I would rather drive a black and white car. But when it comes down to saving the money, the $1,000 was really needed. to letter it, it's gonna be another $400. Now, that being said, they do make like a ghost lettering that looks halfway decent. That could happen, that when lights hit it, it reflects back, which would still be open to. In my opinion, New Hampton has them. In my opinion, if you're gonna put letters on your car, you might as well actually make a DK. If you're gonna spend the money, you might as well make a.
What do you guys think about that? We should not label, we should.
It's come up in the past, but for all intents and purposes, we've had, for the last 15 years, we've had at least one quote-unquote unmarked vehicle in the fleet. And my position has always been to not limit the department's operability, not get into that role.
Good point, that's a great point.
I will say I do like a black and white vehicle. We talked about getting a new design and everything of the cruisers, where you can letter up a black vehicle, but a black and white car is a police car.
Yeah.
When you see it, it is. So I truly, honestly would prefer to have a black and white car.
We can just put the new town seal on the doors.
Yeah.
Sorry.
On the doors and not on the back, not on the
Not
back.
from me.
On the hood.
I will say too, we're not ordering it. You can't order it from Ford anymore with black and white doors. So McGovern has an auto body shop, so they were just going to paint it. So we could always paint it if we had more money next year. Irwin's and Grapponi, this price, they wouldn't even give us a price for a white door. They refused. They said even if we got your car, we wouldn't. Our auto body shop won't even paint your doors. They were the only company that was willing to. If we got a black and white car, that we could go down and pick it up and it was ready to go.
A few cans of Rust-Oleum.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the purchase order.
So moved.
And
Make a motion to approve the purchase order from McGovern Municipal HQ for the purchase of a 2023 Ford Police Interceptor at the price of $42,615.35 minus the trade-in value for the existing vehicle of $2,250 for a total of $40,365.35.
and to approve the town administrator sign.
And to, say it again?
To approve the town.
Approve.
Sign.
Approve the town administrator to assign. To sign.
Seconded by Les. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions? Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome. Thank you
for
guys.
coming in.
Thanks for saving a few bucks, that's good stuff.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Is my library card? Is this my library card?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
It's an
that's
invitation.
communications, but, under number 8 in your package, you've already seen this, there's no change to it, I fixed the appendix. But it now has the wage scale in there correctly, but we never voted. So I've already put it into place, but if we, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying, if we can at least, actually, if we could backdate the vote to April 4th instead, because that's when you approved this and that I forgot to change that date.
Yep.
So-
Okay. Make a motion to accept the town of Bristol procedures for employee evaluation and make that retroactive to April 4th.
Second.
Seconded by Scott. Motion by Carol, second by Scott. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions? Thank you. That's 5-0.
And somebody had a question about it earlier. Is there still a question? Do you remember what?
That was me asking in preparation to make a motion,
Oh, okay, good.
so I do it.
We're good.
TA report?
Here we go. That
Wow.
is, I have a few things to add to it, but for the most part, that's it. Under number 9, the different items are listed under number 9 in your packet. The first thing is just a public safety building update. they met today. I did say that we will have some information for you at the select board meeting. It looks, the chief dropped off a building report. And then Rob was at the meeting today, so if we miss anything, he can chime in as well. It says that, so this is from Ben, as you can see in your travels on Lake Street, demolition work is nearly complete and expected to be done next Tuesday. The site contractor has also started to remove trees from the back of the lot.
Is Mark getting the wood?
No, I saw it was loaded on Morrison's
Okay.
logging truck today, which I thought was, I wondered about that.
Yeah, just curious.
The town administrator and fire chief are working on contacting neighbors regarding trees that may pose a problem once site work begins, but are on those neighbors' property. There's a tree, mainly with Nana, that could cause a problem, so I'm reaching out to Nana.
Okay.
The alteration of terrain permit has been approved. There are some conditions on that, and I forgot to include that in your packet, but I will email that out to you, so you can at least see that. And Gruen is set to begin site work on May 1st with a timeline of May 15th to begin installing footings.
Do we know what those, very first day they showed up with a bunch of wooden
Wood frames?
frames?
They're probably footings. Forms?
Yeah.
Maybe
They're
forms.
like 4x8 or 4x6. I bet they're forms for the sub footings.
The sub posts or something?
I bet you.
Yeah. I was just
That
curious.
didn't come up today, did it, Rob? We didn't talk about that.
No, that wasn't discussed. I mean, we talked about delivery of steel, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
They went on a little further after I had to leave.
Yeah,
Um,
just the top 3 pages of those have to be signed. So with the work set to begin, the Public Safety Building Committee is recommending a groundbreaking ceremony on May 3rd at 10 a.m.
Okay.
The recommendation is to do something formal but small in scale. This is because of limited parking and also the activity on the site. We plan to recommend something more significant for the grand opening ceremony. We're looking for attendance from the board, the Public Safety Building Committee, Gruen, and some media. The recommendation is to have the Public Safety Building Committee, Fire Chief, Police Chief, Town Administrator Bruce Dorner, Anita Avery, Rob Bassett, the board chair or designee if he can attend, and Fenton Gruen to perform the groundbreaking. We would then have some time to talk to the media and then let Gruen get back to work. If this date and time and basic plan works for the board, we will put a press release out and send some more detailed information to attendees.
Do we have a time or just?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yep. The proposal for owner's representation inspections from Gruen was also reviewed. I think we mentioned that the last meeting. I haven't shared that with the board yet because the committee hadn't talked. And reviewed with Gruen and the Public Safety Building Committee. The committee will continue to look at this and plans to make a recommendation to your next meeting on May 4th. Public Safety Building Committee continues to meet every other week with Gruen. The project is still in its infancy, but this has ensured deadlines are met and good communication between the town and Gruen.
Great.
So it's getting closer. I did want to share.
I can be there. Well, I have a doctor's appointment done at 10:45, so shouldn't take that long, right?
No, because we want him to get back to work right away.
Absolutely.
Right, so I wouldn't think it would be that
We'll
long.
see. It's gonna be like a photo opportunity kind
We
of
all
thing.
shall-
That was my thing,
May
like,
3rd.
people are spending
At 10
$4.8 million
Yeah.
dollars, let's give them something to,
Yeah,
an
exactly.
update and maybe.
Yeah.
So we did, we've done a couple things I'll just point out on the website for the public safety building too. This notice was put out because some people still weren't aware that the police department wasn't there.
Yeah.
So we've given.
Including other police.
On your Facebook post, right? Not
Yeah.
yours, but yeah.
So we put this out, it tells them how to get to an officer Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 p.m., that they can bring the drug take back. I thought I saw it.
Is that still,
It is upstairs, it's bolted, and so
No,
they
no.
can do it
I'm
Monday
sorry.
through Friday during regular business hours only.
What's that?
The drug take back box.
It's just a drop
Pre-
box.
Drop box.
Prescription.
Oh,
for
the
unused
drug
prescription.
prescription act, well,
Yeah.
my ears are right.
And if they need to speak to an officer after town office business hours or on weekends, then they have to call, the 2212 number. And this is until we're working on getting a phone outside. There's been some complications with that, but we're hoping to have that done soon. So, but until then, we're trying to make sure people know their options.
Is there a piece of paper outside that I haven't seen? If someone comes to the door, is there a
Nope.
piece of paper that says call this number?
We'll put that up. We put signs up in the elevator because people were getting confused when they got off the elevator. All of a sudden, you're looking at fingerprinting and you're like, wait a minute. So we got signs in the elevator, we got signs at the top of the stairs, but we did not put a sign outside, so. So we also established, this is actually from the homepage if you go to the projects.
Nice.
Actually, let me go that way, because town projects here. You will see public safety building, the concept drawing, and then if you click here, as we take pictures, it starts at the bottom, and actually, Cade has a demolition one that I asked him to put on, so that's there.
Yeah.
And then you work your way up, and we'll put new pictures on as the project progresses.
Good.
That's great.
I have to add some because some of this is gone now, but.
Yeah.
And that's it for the public safety building.
It's interesting, you can really see how big the lot is now.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
for
yeah, with the
sure.
trees cleared, I wish I had that picture to share, but I don't have, because they're all off the spanking.
Yeah.
So, I did take one today, but.
Did you ask her about the sign somebody put on Facebook, someone's Clark?
What?
Someone, I think you answered it on Facebook. Someone said that there was a plaque in the old town.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I talked with the chief, and he said that that had come up a couple of years back, and they searched the whole building
Yeah.
then and didn't find
Yeah.
it.
I didn't hear that.
It's not,
So,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but
So-
thank you, I do have to get back to him.
So if, that pretty much covers it unless you have anything to add.
I'm gonna bring that up.
So that's coming on May 4th. We did we talked to Gruen about it's a kind of a clerk of the works thing, so we can make sure everything's built the way it's supposed to be, signed off on, and that we're signing off on the phases, like, we want to make sure that we've completed this, whatever it may amount for phase one, because, and then you go into phase two, we know there's gonna be some carrying back and forth potentially. So we did ask them for this, it's a sticker shock. It's a quote that we didn't anticipate would be coming from them. It includes their 15% costs, and it's over 40,000. So we're not supporting this right now. We're gonna have another discussion and figure out what we can do. Because some of the stuff, I'll share it with you, but some of the stuff that are on that list, I questioned today, saying.
Should be things they're already doing.
Yeah, I'm like, aren't these things that you should be already, and they're saying that the stuff on this list is over and above. So the committee's gonna review it again and have a general conversation, probably before the next meeting, so that we can determine what we have are gonna come back to the board.
Okay.
That, we're not in the recommending level for that cost, but we need to figure out what we can pull out of it, so,
Yeah, I think you were there when I brought up the architect
yeah.
thing. And it was kind of funny because the super kind of looked at me and like kind of laughed in agreement. And what's the other guy's name?
Mike
Mike.
from
Was
Gruen.
kind of. I basically was like, I mean, I work with architects all the time.
Yeah.
They love charging for stuff. And they love charging for unnecessary stuff, and this $26,000 worth of. Do we really need that right there?
You're not asking the Fox to watch the hen house? To have them do their own?
Pretty much, yeah.
We could, what about our own, town engineer? I don't know, he's not our town engineer, but.
He can't, it's a conflict of interest because he's working for them.
On other projects.
Oh, okay.
No, on this property, he's
Oh,
been
really?
contract, he's the first part of that
Okay.
contract. Because, I did talk to him and he felt it would be more of a conflict, he's gotta
Yeah.
sign off for things for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
My point also was, you're already getting these sign-offs, can't you just provide us some copies of these sign-offs? And, so the committee's gotta rediscuss it and figure out
Okay.
what we can scale back on that, so. Building, under number 2 on your building updates of the TA report. It's about the Bristol Baptist Church, I don't know the interest from the board, but,
I think they should consider a charitable donation.
well, I don't know if I have my crazy idea, do you wanna hear?
Yes.
Why can't I read this?
Yeah, it says get Adobe Reader.
Yeah, mine went there too.
Oh,
No?
Get down.
I think I can share, but I
You
have to
can
be
open it,
careful what I
you
share.
can right click and open it with,
I'm trying to open it with something else.
Yeah, let's open it with,
Something won't
the
let me-
browser.
I can share as long as I don't
Yeah, my
share.
mouse is ill.
Okay, I think that stuff is all good to share, I'm okay. I just can't share the whole doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got it, my right
Okay,
mouse.
you got it, okay, good. So, my crazy idea, and it's probably, I don't know where the fund would come from, and I really don't wanna add more money to our projects. Depending on what we're talking about, I do think it would be nice to approach them, but, it would have to be subdivided off. They think it's 2 lots, it is, and it's 1 lot. So you'd have to have a subdivision, and the thought would be to subdivide the whole parking area and the building off, raise the building and create downtown parking and give them an MOU to use the parking for the church when they need to. But that's a lot of money, but it's a perfect spot for parking for the downtown.
Where is it?
It's right by Bino's.
Yeah.
I
it's
couldn't,
the-
I couldn't,
It's
I,
the, Bino's is
Parsonage, next to the church,
older folks home there, the big.
Oh, yeah.
It's the
Across the
parsonage
street.
right
building.
on that corner.
So it's the parsonage building,
Right, the one that the road goes right by.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right
right there. It's the name's on it wrong, that's not Bristol Town Square Apartments, by the way.
So they wanna give it, or they want?
They're
Bristol
looking
Town
at their
Square
options,
Apartments.
they think
You
it's
know
too, so.
yeah, I had to really dig.
okay. So can you summarize what they're asking to do again?
Well-
I'm busy here. I'm getting tired of this one.
They've approached land use because they wanna sell off the parsonage building. They're thinking it's 2 lots, it's not, we're gonna have to talk to them about that. And they wanna meet to consult about doing a lot line adjustment, that's not what they'll have to do, and an easement for the driveway. So before we got back to them, I wanted to approach the board with your thoughts on this building, and what their thoughts are for selling it.
Is the parsonage building currently on the tax map, even though it's owned by the church? Or is
Yeah.
that-
It's this one.
On the tax
They don't
roll.
pay.
Oh, tax roll, I'm sorry.
It
They
is
don't pay
not,
tax
they
on it.
don't pay taxes on
So
their
this
building.
will go,
If it sells.
yes.
Yeah.
It would go back on the tax rolls, yeah. It would go on the tax rolls, hasn't been for,
Forever.
I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
They've been getting a charitable,
Yeah.
religious exemption.
Maybe in exchange, I won't say that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put this out to you. We can get in touch with them and just talk to them about the property and let them know you have to subdivide it and
Ask them what, just out of
they-
curiosity, ask them what they want for it.
Okay. All right, I will do that next. That's it
I
for,
bet you they balk at the parking,
oops. Yeah,
including the lot.
unless it's we could, not just an MOU, it might be an easement. You know, I mean, I would think they'd be interested because they wouldn't have to maintain it.
Right.
But
they haven't been interested in the past.
right,
When we offered to maintain it and use it for parking.
right.
Okay.
Okay, let's go back to that. Vehicle updates. figured Carol might have something to say too, but.
What update?
I heard about this. Vehicle updates.
So the loader had an incident, a cracked fuel filter. It dumped approximately 20 gallons of diesel fuel, Bear Mountain Road and Upper Birch Road. DES was involved.
In front of the selectman's house.
DES and the fire department were involved. The highway department was asked to sand the spill one day, and then the next day they were asked to go sweep up, and they've had to clear some driveways as well, near some driveways. Knock on wood, I think it's all resolved. I don't want to jinx the issue, but I don't know if Carol had anything to add.
No, I called, yesterday I called, I called here and you were gone, and I asked them to give Mark a call, because I happened to see the corner at Upper Birch down from me. It had all kind of run around and crossed this guy's driveway, and had like a swath of black diesel that had really kind of gelled up,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking it's gonna get on somebody's tires and get on somebody's rug in their house. So they came, I said, can you come up and dig that up? So the fire department came and they went around the entire road and shoveled up anything that looked like it would blow up, so that was good. And he said that it was worse on Bear Mountain than it was on Upper Birch. Took an opportunity, and I had a call from Bill Olson at Ralph Shackett's big house. And he said that there was like a sheen, there's a little pond there, it's maybe 100 feet back from the road, a little round pond. And so I went and looked at it, but that was iron bacteria sheen.
Yeah.
Then when the fire department came by, I took them by and said, I'll give you a little training on this, gave them a training. The difference between the two, so that was good. So no, up on Upper Birch, it's good, so they did, everybody did a good job. That's standard.
Actually,
standard practice.
I happened to stop by the fire station, and Ingrid was in there after we were just talking, and I was like, where's the guys? And she's like, well, I don't know if I should tell you as a member of the select board. I'm like, no, you should definitely tell me.
I know also that, I know the grader is down for a little bit. He's doing some cylinder repairs.
He was working with, I ran into him yesterday up on,
I talked to him this morning.
Janelle.
He had a couple of the cylinders off.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Sending them out for repacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the new vehicle has arrived.
Yeah, I saw it there
last
yesterday.
week,
Yeah, good.
Seems to be no problems, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Black.
No resolutions yet on, the bucket truck.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of time to figure that out.
I talked with Victor briefly about that the other day. I told him I'd start looking around. We made out good on the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We paid 11 grand for it.
Well,
Two of them.
Yeah. The extra money was because it would have taken us that amount of money to certify the truck if we'd have repaired it.
Right.
So that's how come we ended up with extra,
Yeah.
but is what I was told, so.
Kudos to the highway department. I texted Mark about a downed limb in the road on North Main, and the next day the whole tree was down. They got aerial to come out quick, and they did good work. It was fast.
Oh, that's a good point, you know.
Literally saw it.
Yeah, I know.
Wasn't aware.
What's that?
It was that big rotten popple down by the folks who have the camper there. On the side, there was a big rotten down on the end on the lake end of North Main.
Oh.
Yeah,
That
Oh,
was
okay.
past
I know what you're
Russell's,
talking about.
yeah.
our neighbors. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
probably, I don't have everybody's numbers, like Mark's number, Jeff's number. Instead of calling here and talking to Deb and having her get a hold of Mark, I could have called him myself, so I should have.
They're not always in the building anyway. You would have had to leave them because they're out, but, so if it's something you felt that needed to be addressed quickly, you should call here.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can get you those numbers too.
I'll send you.
Are we gonna put them on the work, on the flow charts?
Yes, actually, we can probably add them to the flow charts for you.
Yeah.
Yep. I added, but you don't have it yet, the bat line, we're calling it, the bat line, we're calling it.
DL.
Department heads and select board will have the bat line, it's a direct line to me. And then, the TA cell phone is set up now, so I have that. But you also have my private phone, so I've just transferred almost all town business to the TA phone. While we're on the highway department, it's not on your TA report, but we met with the new farmer's market. Every time someone new comes on the farmer's market, they want to make some changes. We've let them know what we can and can't do. I did drive by today and saw that they were starting to, there's some areas where it's either the old foundation or old tree stumps that are kind of sticking up still in the middle. They were digging that up and trying to flatten that a little bit for them today, so that was kudos, and they're gonna fill in some of the holes. There's a bathroom. If you've been out in Millstream where in the middle where it kind of has some bumps rising, there's a tiled floor and a bathroom drain.
Yeah, it's the old downstream.
Yep, so, it's filled in, but it's there. I'm like,
Yeah.
Mark's like, I don't think we can get that up. I'm like, it's fine, just flatten this
Cover it
area.
over.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And then there's some old, we think it's part of the old pen stock. Too, we told them that they wanted us to take them out. No, we can't get those out,
It's
so,
historical.
You think it was?
well, we don't know how far down those go either, but, we did tell them they had a lot of problems last year with parking, people blocking in the handicap parking. So we're gonna mark right behind the handicap parking as no parking, and then add some parking spaces closer to the road. So, and they'll be painted off that way.
Okay.
I think that's all we agreed to do, but it was nice to see Mark's crew was already out there today doing that, so.
The old penstock would be wooden or metal? Is there a
Maybe the
danger,
penstocks
is
are
there a
on
danger
there.
of collapse of any
It's
kind?
no,
Okay.
it's boulders, they look like boulders, so.
Okay.
So penstock might be the wrong word, what else would it have been?
Hold back water.
Yeah, there's something that used to flow there, Mark said.
I don't know.
Okay. All right, moving on. Employee updates.
Oh, excuse me, one more question on the trucks. Somebody asked me, actually, 2 days ago, has there been any investigation on the fire and any progress on that?
I have never received a report
Okay,
yet.
thank you.
But the indication verbally has been that it was the spreader. It was, we did investigate, we had the police department do a separate investigation at the at the suggestion of the person who came to do the inspection from Primex. And that was not founded,
Okay.
so,
Thank you.
but they believe it was attributed to the spreader. Why it happened or
Yeah,
not,
what
we're
exactly
not sure.
happened.
Never
so.
gonna know, probably.
The only thing they mentioned was that the wiring was towards the back where the spreader issues out the salt, and that could have caused some issues. So I think their alternative suggestion was not to do it that way again, but I haven't got an official report still.
Okay, thank you.
I'll check into it.
Sounds like an insurance answer. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to prevent this from happening in the future?
Employee updates, I wanted to give a couple more kudos.
I saw that today, that was nice.
The team photo wasn't on there, but this is the newsletter Joanne puts out for assessing and land use. I'm not sure their frequency yet, but this is their first one. We had talked also about this in our personnel policy committee, things that we could do.
Yep.
So I thought this was a great thing to share with the board, and it's not something that we would probably post. Some of it we would post, but this is more for their internal. So I wanted to make sure the board saw that.
Nice.
The second kudos is I realized that we put them on the website, but I don't think we ever shared them like we did everybody else in the select board meeting. So we shared the April Employee Appreciation for years of service. Raymond Simpson was 28 years. Jeffrey Ford, 19 years, Cynthia Rogers, 17 years, Christopher Bean, 16 years, and Kevin McCaffrey, 9 years. So we just want, they've been shared on the website, and we'll be doing May shortly, and I'll make sure we share May at the beginning of May.
Right.
So. Other updates, Penny Path project, the MOU was submitted to the Army Corps. I will just let you read the rest of that. That could be a further future discussion.
Yeah.
But, Eversource and PSNH, for some reason, I'm not sure why, 2018 and 19 cases, were assigned to a different law, or different attorney. I don't know, I think it might have been because they were sharing costs back then.
Yeah.
But they were all put on hold, and now they're being released. So we have 18, 19, and 21 in court right now. I don't anticipate we'll have any kind of judgment quickly this year. I'd be surprised, but I put them back with Sean Tangy because it only made sense. And he's gonna share the costs as well with the other towns that he has, I think, in 9 towns, so. Okay. Affinity LED project. We talked about being able to reuse them. One caveat I'll throw out there now is what, they have to, I wanted to put it out to you just to make sure you're okay with this. They have to cut them off. They're welded as one piece. And they're buying the adapter, they're paying for it, the adapter, they're not charging anything extra. I did reach out to them to confirm 2 things. One, that if they would be able to be used again, and they're confirming that they would just be a cutoff. And then they, how bad they would look. They won't look bad. It'll be the fixture with an adapter underneath it to hook it to the poles.
Yeah.
So I'll give them the go-ahead to finish the project. I just wanted you to be aware that they have to cut them. At the same time that we are doing that, we are going to get the shade. I can't dim them any lower. The concern is still happening. So we told them, we're gonna tell them to go ahead and purchase the shade, but we can't get it put in until the contractor comes back to put the lights in here. It'll all be done at the same time, so.
Good.
Have we communicated with that person?
I will tomorrow. I've communicated with him since, and let him know that, he hadn't gotten the emails before.
Yeah.
So I said, can you just confirm you're getting this email?
Yeah.
And he did confirm, and he knows where we're going, so. I thought the board would be interested to know that one of the properties close to the lights, close to downtown, is going to be revamped soon. The 45 Lake Street property that's been sitting for years.
Yes, I saw that, and that was very exciting news.
Yes, so Paul Fleming will be putting a showroom on the first floor. So the building will be torn down, but he has to rebuild in the same footprint.
Yeah.
He has DES approvals going through. He's come to Planning was the full site plan, so. They will have a showroom by appointment only on the first floor, and then 2 apartments up above, so.
Nice.
It'll be really nice.
Parking there?
Yeah, if you look at their site plan,
Yes.
the parking, he's keeping his office across the
Yeah,
street.
yeah.
So the way the parking is set up, that there would be parking for the units and some by the garage. And then there will be space for them to come by appointment when they have to meet somebody there to show them stuff, so.
He had 4 spaces, as you look at it from this way, the garage will be here, 2 spaces for the tenants, and 4 spaces over here.
Nice.
They talked about that ad nauseam
Yeah.
at the meeting.
Yeah, it just looks like such a tiny lot,
Yeah.
so I was just curious.
Yeah. It is a tiny lot, but it's also kind of grown over it too. So.
Yeah.
But between that and Reynolds, that's 4 new apartments.
Yep, and
Yep.
and
And
people
pawn
who
shop.
Reynolds.
Oh,
in
really?
the pawn shop.
The pawn shop.
The auction, Reynolds auction building.
Oh, yeah, on,
Yeah.
Merrimack?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot to put that in there, but, they will be adding and they'll be changing it from the auction to, building, it won't be commercial, it'll be 2 residential
Yeah,
units.
and then he'll use storage below, right? He said.
He changed that,
Oh, did he?
so
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be, no commercial base,
Oh, okay.
it's just gonna be 2
Yeah.
units, so.
Yeah, I just know
And what
he'll
about
do.
the auction?
What's
Not
that?
the auction.
The pawn shop.
Liquor store.
The former liquor store,
Yeah,
former
yeah.
pawn shop, that building, I saw the new owners there, so I believe it closed, and it's going to become a tapas cafe.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and it's
Wow.
going, well,
It-
when he was talking to me, I thought he said topless. I almost
It's
died.
like, tapas is like Mediterranean, it's
Yes.
small portions, yeah, and it's kind of like,
You order a bunch of different.
yeah, but it's kind of like ordering a bunch of different appetizers. That's
He's
awesome.
going to do an incredible job of the building.
Yeah.
I won't say a name yet, just in case, I think they've closed, because I did see them there.
There was a sign as I drove by today, it said building sold.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, now I've lost it.
That's up by the Fort.
Duba is the last,
It's where the pawn shop
Rick?
was.
Bristol Hill,
Duba?
or next to.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Rick Duba and their family, they will go in, they have the roastery out of the garage, approved roastery out of their garage up on Prospect Street. They sell, coffee. They get
okay,
coffee
yes.
beans from Honduras.
Really?
And
I know
then,
that.
and they,
Do they sell like to businesses or do they sell locally?
I would have to check it, see.
No,
when-
you can
You can
mail
order it.
No, they were at the
They've
craft
been at the
fair.
craft
Yeah.
fair at the
Yeah.
center,
You
yeah.
can't
That's
go
the
there to
Dubas?
purchase it.
Right.
I bought some of that.
Yeah.
You can't go
That's
there to
good.
purchase it, but you can,
Mail order.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna be using some of that in the cafe as well, but his plans for the cafe is pretty exciting.
That's
It would
awesome.
be nice to see the change, so.
Are they gonna be able to use the parking lot?
That's
Oh,
what I
and
thought,
over
too.
next door, I don't know.
That's a
They
tough
have
place
so
to
much
park
of
on.
the parking lot there, and that bad spot, they're gonna pave over.
Yeah.
They're not gonna leave that open, but I don't think they have any intents to go use anything else, but.
Nice.
And I think they would only be open to like 2. But they have to go before the planning board,
2 a.m.?
2 p.m.
That'd be the topless.
Oh, so much for nighttime.
Yes.
Letters change
Oh,
every
my
time.
God.
Just
That
gotta change a
rumor
few
is
letters.
gonna go around.
Okay, it's getting late.
Alright, in your packets, or everybody gonna
Yeah.
unload, it's the 10th anniversary open house of the Might Not Sleeper Library. It's Thursday, May 18th from 2 to 4 p.m.
I can't believe it's
Can't
been
go.
10 years. I mean, no, I can't believe
Yeah, I
it's
know.
only been 10 years, actually,
Yeah.
because it seems like it's been there forever now.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
she's
I-
heading out.
Well, I was gonna say, I know she's packing up,
Yeah.
I need, one, additional thing that I forgot to show you,
Oh, non-public?
in non-public, well, I don't know if it needs to be non-public, but, if you look on your desktops, there's a new thing we're gonna leave on your computers. It should say select board items.
Can you tell me my password or is that a secret? Oh, you can on the camera.
Let's tell everyone.
Going into non-public, so we can give Carol the best.
Secret note, pass it down.
Here, wait,
Select board information, yeah.
pass it down.
Oh, that's what I get for being late? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I locked you out, did it?
Well, I shut it down is what it did.
Oh.
I am not.
So on your desktop, there should be a folder,
Just like this.
it should say
Select board
select board,
meetings.
not meetings, the other one,
Information.
yeah. So this is something new that, we're always talking about these things, but you
Yep.
never have access to them.
Yep.
So the first
Great
two
idea.
things in there is the 2023 wage scale and, just lost my spot.
Oh, evals.
And a form that, an Excel sheet that I created, started off as just recognition, so I could make sure that I didn't miss recognizing somebody. I didn't wanna make a mistake, but then it's kind of elaborated into how do I track down that everybody's turned in evaluation, everybody's done a PAF.
Yep.
And now I've added grades and steps. So when we have these, because we've had so many conversations about, well, what grade and step are they right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
So now you'll know, why is it not, I don't have it on my computer for some reason. So I'm gonna look over your head for a
That would be
minute.
great.
So I have color codes in there. We can make it more cleaner for you later, but the first tab is hire dates and recognition. As I recognize them, I put that in there so I don't forget somebody there by month. If you go to
Okay,
this,
excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. Where are we now?
Right in the center,
I was still logging in.
select board items.
I just didn't think I should share all the names on the screen.
Which item?
I was looking for something else and something popped up.
No,
Get on
exact right there. And then under the recognition.
Thank you.
So the first one is the scale that we've adopted, and then that's the first Excel sheet, and then the second one is the first tab is hire dates and recognition. If you click on the second tab, that's this year's. There's some questions that have kind of come up about how to handle a couple of, I forgot to mention that earlier. Call firefighters is one thing. They don't have an evaluation, but at some point I think that they should probably be evaluated. There are some, a couple of them, one, two, just a little bit more. I might still have access to that, sorry.
There's a lot of color there.
Yeah.
This is great.
I could, so I had to have something, because I could not keep track of everything that was coming through, and I'm like, I can't, when they're talking in a meeting, I can't say, yeah, great, I support that. But, so there's a couple that are, we have some issues that we found out on at least 2 individuals that have reached the top of the wage scale and how to handle those. We're gonna have to make a determination over this year and probably have to change what we're doing on those. And then the blues are 6-month people that should get a 6-month evaluation, so we don't miss those. And then the yellows, there are 1, 2 yellows, they're part-time people. They didn't get an evaluation. The 2 on the bottom of the list also didn't get any kind of increase, but we probably should consider what we're gonna do about those. So I've talked to both those department heads about that as well. But that just tells you where they end up, and then next year the tabs will be updated and you'll know where they are in the grades and scales as they are changed.
Nice job.
So, and we'll update them on your laptop so that you'll have access to it whenever you need it. So, and if there's additional things that you think should be thrown into that folder, we can, so that way you have access to them whenever you need them, we would just let us know.
Great.
I just lost my train of thought.
Nice.
Was that the thing you needed?
Oh, no, I have one more thing. And I probably should do that now,
Okay.
because I just need a clarification.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and any selectmen items, Scott?
No.
Rob, no?
He's like, I've had enough.
I brought up your idea to the Conservation Commission about,
Yep.
and that was good. I got rid of the sand barrel, threw that away because it was rusted out.
I almost picked that up one day. I was like,
Oh,
I'm
it
gonna bring
was
it back.
rusted out?
Still on the spring?
Oh.
Yeah.
The bottom of it was rusted out, so I tossed it.
I have nothing.
No? Okay, nothing for me. And my kudos for the highway. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go back into non-public session pursuant to NHRSA 91A3, 2, A, B, and C. So moved by Rob, second by Scott. Roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Sean, aye.
Aye.